The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. Our show contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself. Welcome to Queens of Spice. Thanks for joining me tonight. We're talking about the love hypothesis. I'm Rachel /Rargi/Rargachu. I'm joined with my BFF Ash and my other BFF Jack. Thanks for joining me, gals.
Oh, I'm a BFF again.
Thanks is the one where we get to talk about Adam Driver a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're talking about Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I'll say, writing these notes, I learned how to spell hypothesis, so I'm excited about that. It's not really I went to art school, so I don't need to write that
educational, one might argue.
Super educational. Ali Hazelwood, who, I'm just going to put this right off the top. I fucking love Ali Hazelwood.
Why?
She's an amazing fucking writer. I read this book right after The Den of Vipers, so, like, what a breath of fresh air. So pleasant and lovely.
I thought we liked that one.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's fine. But like her writing style is just
refreshing,
amazing.
I love it. It's easy, and it's
comfy. So comfy.
Yes.
I resonate with it a lot because I'm a fucking nerd. I know Ash is a nerd, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it easy breezy, beautiful cover girl?
Cover girl, not a sponsor, but if you ever want to sponsor the Queens of Spice podcast, please email queensofspice@gmail.com, or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at Queens of Spice.
Because basically we're just whores who need somebody to sponsor us in some capacity. I feel like every episode Rachel's like, please love us and give us money.
I mean, that's fine. We're just here to have a good time.
Can we talk about the cover of the book, though? Speaking of easy breezy beautiful covers.
I'm sorry. Can we do our shot first?
Oh, we should probably do our shot first and then talk about how Jack's parents aren't alive anymore. Okay, so...
Oh, my parents are dead, y'all. It's been like a couple of years, and that's like super sad. So let's do a shot.
Rip, love you.
Rip,
I wonder how Jacqueline's processing her trauma.
With Coldstream Clear Caramel flavored vodka.
Salted caramel.
Salted caramel. Yeah.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers to that one.
Bitches.
Also, Mom, if you're listening, please don't. That's all I gotta say about that.
I don't think my mom would ever listen because she hates romance and she thinks it's silly that
Which is hilarious to me because, I mean, we talked about this before, but Ash's mom had the book that really started our relationship with romance novels in general.
Yep.
It was on her shelf in the basement where Ashton's room was, and we just, spied it.
And
Ash,
what was it called again?
Tidal Wave.
It's called Tidal Wave. We're going to cover it. I'm actually reading it right now. I've been struggling through
She's
it.
been reading it for a while.
I've been reading it for a solid 2 weeks because it's dry. It's real dry, especially after something like the Love Hypothesis. So yeah, Ash, do you want to talk about this cover? So do you know a little bit more about Ali Hazelwood than I do? So do you want to? Do you want to talk about Ali?
Ali.
Diesel. Oh wait,
wrong book.
Uncle Jake?
No,
Oof, definitely the wrong book.
Oh,
not yet.
There's no daddies in this book just yet.
I mean, there's a cinnamon roll though. Like I have probably read all of the things that Ali has posted on AO3.
I mean, to that, Ali is originally a fanfic writer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hardcore. And
girl, what's AO3?
An archive of our own. It's a website that people can use to post their literary content, as it were. It's a lot of fan fiction,
cool.
And it's really great because it implements like a tagging system. So if there's something that you're not comfortable with or something that you do want to read about, you can search for it or ignore it. So Love Hypothesis was originally written as a Reylo fan fiction. For those of you who don't know, that is Star Wars, Rey and Ben.
Who's Reylo?
I literally just said that.
Yeah, so Reylo is Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars.
Well, Kylo Ren or Ben Solo, whichever one you want to call him by.
It's for Ashton's all intents and purposes. It's Adam Driver.
Reylo is not a single person.
Not a ship name, dude.
Oh yeah,
it's
so
like
when you
the
ship
Titanic,
people,
only the Titanic is one and it's sunk atrociously. And I mean, Raylo arguably sunk in the movie, but the fandom picked it up and helped it float its way to the surface and carried on J.J. Abrams' trash heap.
Girl, you've been talking about Raylo for like years now, and I thought it was a person.
It's a ship name, kind of like Brangelina.
Yeah, you know when you like take two people who you're like, these people should be together forever. Let's talk about them all the time, and then you stick their names together and make it one name.
I recall you shipping me with somebody.
We're not going to say that name, but my husband and I are either Jackofer or Chryslin. So good for us, right?
I like Chryslin.
Chryslin's good. That's a fun name.
It sounds like a chrysalis. Anyway,
yeah.
Ali Hazelwood, amazing. I think we're actually have one of her fan fictions on the docket to review later.
That's true. I was just talking about that.
Yeah, it's an Omegaverse one, and it's fantastic too.
It's called Your Pretty Little Heart.
It is, yes.
Not to be confused with Pretty Little Liars, which I love,
and I have never watched.
I don't know what that is.
See what I'm dealing with here?
Yes, because you're the one that's.
What's a Raylo again?
See what they're dealing with.
I love that the cover of the book. So the cover of the book is illustrated by a Raylo illustrator, which is fantastic. Let's all support people within your fandom. That's great.
Which is Lilisaur. It's on the back here. Lilisaur, am I saying that right? It's on the bottom there.
She sounds like a dinosaur, which I appreciate.
Yeah, 100%. She's definitely a sword.
So it's obviously Ben and Ray on the cover, by which I mean Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley.
Anyway, so this book was published in 2021 by Ali Hazelwood, who is just one of the best freaking writers in my less than humble opinion. She's put a new book out recently.
Yeah, Love on the Brain.
Love on the Brain.
Also super great because Allie's just amazing. So
she writes all about like STEM usually. So she writes because she herself
is a neuroscientist.
Is a neuroscientist, I believe.
Is she self-published or
no? She has a publisher.
She has a publisher. But I mean, she was in AO3 for a while. The publisher is Berkeley, so it's a smaller publishing house. Super
fun. I think Berkeley's got another Raylo author coming out 2023. It's My Roommate is a Vampire, something along those lines. Gino's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super pumped to be reviewing this one because I followed Ali on Twitter before the book was actually published. And I mean, there's all the fandom stuff you get into and whatever, but it's neat for me to think that if I made a comment, Ali commented back, which was
it's kind of like a big deal, right?
It's a look. I had like such.
Do you have like a writer crush on Ali? Because I do.
I just think she's awesome.
Yeah.
Like smart, funny, like
so smart. The
quirky.
Book is so smart and quirky. 100%. Her personality shines through in this in a million ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think it's awesome. And I'm super excited because I feel like I've read so much of her other stuff, and it's so nice to see somebody who's passionate about things take something and create this, which I mean, smart girls are fun, and she does so many things well in this book. Like the agency that she gives her female characters is brilliant. You've got I know we're going to describe like the general premise of the book, but she uses the miscommunication trope in this book, and miscommunication is arguably one of my least favorite tropes because unless it's done well, sorry, that's not fair. I don't like when miscommunication is used and it just seems unrealistic.
It seems like a throwaway.
Yeah, it's like you're using this just because you need to use it, not because it and I mean it makes sense, but it's not. It almost feels forced.
It doesn't feel natural. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fun. It is like when you're looking for something that's easy.
You're talking about the miscommunication in this book, which is, hey, I love you. Hey, I fucking love you too. But we can never tell each other.
Well, it's him thinking that she's in love with somebody else and her thinking that he's in love with somebody else, and yet it makes sense.
Or like, that he should be in love with somebody else.
Yeah, like
in that instance.
Yeah, and the way it's just flushed out is just chef's kiss.
So this book focuses on Olive, who is a PhD student. She is an orphan, just like Jacqueline. Her mother passed away, which is part of her PhD studies in this instance.
R.I.P. Olive's mom and dad.
Oh no, sure, her dad's out of the picture. Her mom was like super BFFs with her though, and so she died of pancreatic cancer when she was like I think 14 or 15. And so part of Olive's kind of backstory is that she's striving to kind of help with early detection of pancreatic cancer, which is the nerd part of this at Stanford University.
Noble cause.
Super noble. And I mean, and that's kind of what I think really catches the attention of one Professor Adam Carlsen.
Is it though? Because that epilogue was like...
So the epilogue kind of catches that where she like, you know, saunters into his lab bathroom because she put in expired contacts, which is fucking charming.
And can't see
anything. And so she has like no idea who this guy is who rolls in and be like, what are you doing in my lab bathroom? I'm here
I don't like that.
What? Expired contacts?
Yeah, that's dumb.
Okay, you have to understand that the character... Okay, so we're going full Raylo here. Mm-hmm. Ray's character, raised on Jakku, poor orphan, all the fun stuff. So Olive's character is super frugal and knows how to penny pinch and all of those things, which is kind of reflection of like Ray in this. So she's saving money by using expired contacts because why the fuck not?
Plus she's a nerd, so she has to have glasses and or contacts. So she gets herself into a bit of a pickle by kissing Adam Carlsen in the hallway, who's a notorious asshole, evidently.
Well,
and he's her professor?
No. He is a professor in the same area of study that she's in, but he is not her professor.
Okay. So the reason that she kisses him, though, she was dating a guy,
Jeremy,
and
who's Irish.
It's because she couldn't see because she wasn't wearing.
She didn't know who he was.
So this is fast forward 2 years after about 2 years after the prologue. She doesn't
even know that Adam Carlsen was that guy.
Had no idea.
Oh, okay.
So she was dating this guy Jeremy, and they, you know,
she was like dating him because her friends were like, "You should date someone." She's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Which we will talk about later. She is comes off as a demisexual.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
So a demisexual is someone who only can have sex with somebody who they have a strong emotional
connection
bond with or trust.
Okay.
Only wants to have sex with.
Yeah, and really wants to.
So could be any gender though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So she's dating Jeremy and they split up because, you know, not really feeling it. But her best friend kind of has a crush on Jeremy.
Super crush.
Yeah, like
obviously does.
And Olive's a decent human being. And she's like, no, go ahead, date him. And she's like, no, I can't.
But An is like one of the best characters ever written.
Yeah.
She's wonderful.
She's like, you know, girls before penises. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't rhyme, but it's still okay.
Yeah, it works. And so to make An more comfortable with the idea of dating Jeremy, Olive pretends that she's dating somebody. And she gets caught, kind of. She thinks she gets caught because she's at the...
She said she's out on a date Friday night, but she's not actually on a date. She's at the lab running tests. And then An comes by because she's a nerd. And An comes by. An comes by and
Olive panics.
Like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be on a date right now, and she panics and then grabs the first dude in the hallway and macks on him, and it's fucking Adam Carlsen.
Yes.
Olive,
I know, but Adam Carlsen is like,
he's like madly in love with this chick, and she has no clue.
Well, he's
before
spoilers.
This happens.
Heck yeah, years before.
You find out later, and it's magical. That's kind of one of the greatest reveals in the book. But
Olive.
Diesel.
Wrong book.
So
is this Uncle Jake?
No. So she grabs him and kisses him, and he's like a notorious asshole. He makes his students cry. So she's like, oh, and he's like, did you just kiss me?
Do I need to
no
report you for this? Because that's sexual harassment.
Coercion.
Also, very progressive of him to do that.
Yeah.
Good for you, Adam.
Yeah.
A lot of men would be like, oh, that's super hard. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. Because we don't sexually harass men either.
No, we don't.
So Olive and Adam end up working out this like fake relationship situation down the road a couple days later after this happens. And it's in the benefit of both of them to like make this fake relationship happen, which is a wonderful trope, by the way, fake relationship.
Ooh. How come, like, why is it so good for both of them?
So it's beneficial because Adam is considered a flight risk in his department. So basically, yeah. So like the dean hasn't released his research funds yet. So he owes him like millions and millions of dollars, and he hasn't released them yet because he's like, you're probably going to leave. So we're not going to give you that money. That seems silly. And then she's supposed to be in a fake relationship with somebody else so that her best friend feels comfortable dating Jeremy, her ex.
Right. Okay.
So it's beneficial
Who are
for both
super
of them.
cute. Like Jeremy and Anna are super cute together.
100%.
Adorable.
Yeah.
I.e.
And
Rose and
Olive
Hux.
is just like wants her friend to be happy.
Yeah,
and
so-
her ex to be happy.
More
they're
so her
happy
friend.
together.
Yeah. More so her friend. This is the thing about this is the wonderful relationship building. The character building that happens in this book by Ali is they really drive home. She really drives home the point that Olive has she's got two really good friends, and then she has no other family to deal with. Like her mother's passed, who she was in a really good relationship with. Her grandparents had passed, who she had decent relationships with. Her father's not in the picture, so she does not have a lot of family. So her friends in this book are her best friends.
Right.
They're her family.
They're her family, and so she would do literally anything for them. And there's a point where
Because
they
family don't have to be blood.
no 100%. And so her roommate Malcolm and her best friend On in this end up being
Malcolm.
Isn't he precious? End up being her
Finn.
family. And so she would do anything to make them happy and to keep them happy. And so this is one thing that she can do for On to you really like this guy. You should be happy with him. You should feel comfortable dating him. And because she's friends before bros. Penises. Then 100%.
Hoes before bros.
100 hoes before bros.
We're allowed to call each other hoes, but boys aren't allowed to call us hoes. So fuck y'all.
And it's the whole Jeremy and Olive thing. It kind of comes back to bite Olive in the ass later on
It
because
sure does.
Adam ends up thinking that she has a thing for Jeremy.
That's
No.
part of the miscommunication is that.
Yes.
So she gets
Is
caught,
that a trope as well?
miscommunication? Yeah. So
What's a trope?
So they end up, because of their fake relationship, they end up being let's just have, we have to make an appearance so that, because the grad
They have a contract.
They have a contractual kind of thing.
Yeah, they figured how it's going to work. They're going to spend so much time together. They need to make so much FaceTime in front of people. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and going to keep it at school and whatever. And so every Wednesday they have a date at Starbucks.
Oh.
Is it Starbucks?
It's Starbucks. It's the campus Starbucks. Because
All right,
they
pumpkin
buy
spice latte.
pumpkin spice latte, which
I would totally love to have a date every Wednesday at Starbucks. And I don't even like Starbucks that much. But if you want to be a sponsor, what's our email address?
if anyone wants to sponsor
Shameless
this podcast,
plug here.
that'll be queensofspice@gmail.com. You want to drop me an email and I'll respond. Or follow us on Twitter or Instagram at Queens of Spice. And,
Pumpkin spice latte.
I had a pumpkin spice latte. I had a pumpkin spice frappuccino because it's still summer here technically.
They have them cold.
Yeah, they do.
Nice.
They're wonderful.
You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Pumpkins are wonderful.
They're gourds.
You're gorgeous.
Oh my god.
Gorgeous.
So
Okay, goofy. Gorge.
So in order to keep appearances, they were meeting at Starbucks, and she had met with her roommate Malcolm because she was having this identity crisis where she's like, I'm fucking in love with this guy. Because as you do, sometimes
You fall in love with
you
Adam
fall in
Driver.
love with you fall in love with Adam Carlsen apparently.
Adam
Even though
Driver.
everyone says he's
Oh
an
my
ass.
gosh. His name is Adam Carlsen, but really it's Adam Driver.
Okay, calm down.
His character's based off of Adam Driver's character.
So they couldn't even come up with a different name than
I don't
Adam?
think it was a matter of coming up with a different name. I think it was kind of poignant.
Oh yeah, it's definitely intentional.
Oh.
Yeah, because let's be real here. A lot of fic writers get raked so bad by general media and all that stuff. Fic writers don't get a great name. So for a fanfic turned mainstream novel to do well, we love to see it.
And in fairness, until you told me about that, I would not have had a single clue.
Good
And
for you, Allie.
And it doesn't detract from this book whatsoever. This book is brilliant in every single way. And the fact that it's built on the Raylo fan fiction kind of genre, whatever, is neither here nor there to me. This book is wonderful, hands down.
And I love reminding you that Adam Carlsen is Adam Driver.
So as someone who doesn't know these characters, I might still enjoy this
You would
book.
100% still enjoy
you
this
would
book.
1000% enjoy this book.
So it's nothing
No.
really
No.
related to their
There
characters.
is one Star Wars reference in this. There's about 2 Star Wars references I'll say in this entire book. One is very obvious, and then one is kind of a laughing stock, I
Obscure,
would say. Yeah. But that was pretty much all I noticed, and I was looking for it.
Well, and
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, for me, it was a matter of I was looking for it.
Yeah.
So it was an Easter egg hunt for me to be like, oh, that's this. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
this. Oh, that's this. Which added to the element for me. I'm sorry. Like, I just thought it was fucking brilliant.
And did you find many or?
Oh, it's like, well, that's Poe. Well,
Yeah, you're drawing the connection between the characters.
Yeah.
I'm looking for like kind of subtle references too.
well, I mean, I look for those as well, but I was just more excited. I'm like, oh my God, Poe and Finn, Storm Pilot, gimme.
Exactly.
Or Finn Rose, or not Finn Rose. Oh, fuck. Ginger Rose. Delightful. Everybody loves Hux when Hux is an idiot. I mean, idiots to lovers is also a great trope, arguably, and
Really? Is that actually a trope?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, kind of. You think about it, when they're both like stupid in love with each other but can't figure it out, they're
Which happens in this, I would say.
yeah.
That's, I feel like, very real life.
And that's the thing about like I relate a lot to some of these characters insofar that like when I was younger I was a fucking idiot and I didn't realize anything at all about the world.
Point to me somebody who was not an idiot when they were
Fair,
younger.
tough but fair. And so like it's very relatable in that regard.
Or not an idiot now.
Fair. But I mean, so obviously spoilers. There's a happy ending here. They end up together. Obviously, they end up telling you they fucking love each other all the time.
Let's be real. I feel like I say that a lot. The majority of the books, if not all of the books that we're going to talk about, have a happy ending.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's a romance. Not like that's kind of how it goes.
I will not read anything but.
So this is one of those books that it's a book with spice. It's not a spicy book. So the point, like the big draw of this book is that it is like a contemporary romance.
Yeah.
Like it's super, like it's just so fucking charming.
Oh, delightful. Like, but the spice.
The spice that is in this, which we'll get Jack to read a little bit, is like out of this world.
Behave.
I would read this spice in this book 10 times more than I would read Den of Vipers a million times.
Really?
Oh, hands down. Because
It's
the
so
way she
fucking
writes
lovely.
it is just, like, first of all, consent is sexy.
Oh my god!
And
And it's like it's not even aggressive consent too. It's just
No.
like obvious, nice. Like it's just lovely.
And the way that Ali gives Olive's character dimension in her sexuality, which arguably Ali does quite well in her work in general. She has a novella series, Women in STEM, and the dynamics are just, it's not all the same cookie cutter, like, oh, he's super got expertise and she's a virgin and here we go. There's depth to the relationships in that respect. Sometimes the guys aren't super, and you realize that when you read the bonus chapter.
I was about to bring up the bonus chapter.
Bonus chapter.
So chapter 16 in this book,
Oh,
there's a
chapter
bonus chapter
16.
written from
Adam's perspective.
Adam's perspective.
And that's the only one. Like, it hasn't been throughout the novel.
No, it's mostly from her perspective, and then Adam's kind of there.
This is a singular perspective novel where Den of Vipers was a multi-perspective novel.
Yeah.
So it's all written from Olive's perspective.
But it is third person.
It is third person. But Ali, being the goddess that she is, wrote chapter 16 from Adam's perspective. So you get to see like his mindset.
And
while
I would say, having read that very recently, he's also hanging out in the demisexual realm. Like,
Yeah,
this
for
is,
sure.
This is like a soulmate situation.
oh my god.
Yeah, right? Like
Delightful.
And it's like, admittedly, he's like, I haven't touched a woman in like 10 years. I had no interest. And then this friggin' woman rolled up to my lab and
With
the
her
shit?
shitty contacts.
With her shitty contacts and her hilarious personality.
Well, Ali wrote it, and she gave access to people who signed up for her newsletter.
Oh,
That's how it came out. So you sign up for the newsletter. She released the bonus chapter, and you got the password to go to the location of the bonus chapter.
Ooh, so
work really hard and Google that and try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
is it free? Not like a Patreon where you need to pay?
No, I follow Ali. I follow Ali. I followed her on Twitter. I follow her on Instagram. And I signed up for her newsletter, so I got the lowdown when Love on the Brain came out, which
That's her new book?
That is,
Brand
that's one that I
spanking
stopped everything to do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That was
Her poor child hasn't eaten in 3 days.
I mean, he's fine. He's large enough. He'd survive. He's not fat. He's just really tall. But I signed up for Ali's newsletter, and that's how I got put onto the bonus chapter, which like it's like I don't even know. Do they even? He doesn't even get to the point of penetration, and that is more so just like foreplay and oral.
Yeah, so it's chapter 16. Chapter 17 is where they like get down to business. But
is it related to the rest of the book?
Oh yeah,
it's
okay.
So
part
it's
of the
written
book.
in Olive's perspective, and this chapter is chapter 16.
Oh,
which
right,
is
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so when you read that bonus chapter, you find out that like he has it fucking hard for her.
Yeah.
Like he is obsessed with this gal. Like not obsessed in a Diesel sort of way, but
like
obsessed in
his
like
penis is really erect.
whole
for
buddy.
her.
Yes.
Like
And he-
lots of times.
Yeah, like he kind of like you get the insight of what's going on inside of his head for so long, and he's like, this is no big deal. I've been dealing with this for years. Like this is the kind of sexual struggle I've been going through.
What's his name again?
His name
Adam
is
Driver?
Adam Carlsen.
Adam Driver.
Adam Carlsen?
Sorry, right. And her name
Professor
is
Carlsen. Olive.
Olive, like the tree or the oil.
Or the
Olive.
the thing you eat.
Fruit?
Vegetable gourd.
I don't think it's a gourd. I'd say fruit.
Yeah, so you really kind of get the sense from reading that bonus chapter that this is a soulmate type of situation where it's like he had no interest in anyone else on planet Earth until he met her, and then she was the one. And there was never anyone else. And there's so many like hints dropped where they're talking about like originally when they're talking about the contractual obligations of this, she lays out her kind of stipulations about like, not to date anyone else, and he kind of laughs at her and she's like, okay, weird. But he's like, no. In the back of his head, he's like, I will never date anyone else apart from you. You're the only one.
Oh.
And of course he never says that out loud because he's a notorious fucking dickhead. But like at the like you kind
He's
of
just a male.
But she's trying
Yeah.
to like define the relationship, and he's
the fake relationship, yes.
right.
And hilariously, he also brings up in this bonus chapter about like you like he has the thought of like you were standing in my office talking about sex and I couldn't control myself. And it's just
Yeah.
like all these like little subtle things that they talked about early on in the book, and he's just reacting to them now in this bonus chapter is like mwah, chef's kiss.
Oh, it's delightful.
It's so nice.
And the moment that she realizes that she actually like feels things for
she
him,
like has a meltdown almost, which
Well,
fair.
I mean, arguably too. I keep saying arguably. She goes through some shit, and then she's got some decisions to make.
And then,
whether
and so that's when she gets caught in the lie about it too. Is that he walks up on her talking to her roommate Malcolm about like how she loves she loves this person. She can't admit to him. She can never tell him. And then she turns around and it's Adam behind her, and he obviously heard this, and he's like, and her whole reaction is, well, I'm obviously talking about someone else. And then Adam's like, oh, you're talking about Jeremy, obviously. Like, it's fine, no big deal, whatever.
That's not what I was talking about.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
What I was talking about was
Oh, my
when
gosh.
no. So she goes and she does this big talk at this
Oh
massive.
God! So at
Yeah. The only
at
one bed.
the seminar.
Oh my god! But okay,
Where is
can we
she doing this?
So it's in Boston. It's the
She's been
SDR?
asked to do a talk about her research, which is kind of a big deal considering she's like kind of new
She's
at
a
it.
PhD student.
Yeah. So she goes, and this is where like the miscommunication and the fake dating gets so good, and the only one bed thing when she's like, well, we can't do that. There's only one bed.
Okay, this book. I need to talk about something about this book. It's so self-aware.
Yes.
This book is so incredibly self-aware, and that's so fucking charming. And there's so many like meta and fourth wall breaks and shit that happen in this book
Meta.
that you
Morphosis.
just
Metamorphic Power Rangers.
Can you explain to me the fourth wall?
Okay, so the fourth wall break is like when it's so you're talking about something, but you're basically like looking at the audience when you say it. So they talk in this book. On talks about in this book that this whole story when she finds out the fake relationship because of like her best friend and all these things. When An finds out about it, she's like, "This would make the worst romance novel ever." Ha ha ha.
Ha ha.
But like it is a romance
because it's
novel.
a rom-
Yes.
Okay.
So that's like kind of a fourth wall break style.
like, hey, reader, we know.
Yeah.
We're, like,
what's
we're
happening.
looking at you, and you know, and we know that you know.
We know that you
So
know
that's-
that they
so
know
that's
that
what,
we
like-
know.
That's the point where I'm talking about, where she realizes that the bad thing happens and she got it on tape, but she has to decide whether or not she's going to tell Adam, because the guy involved in it is one of Adam's best friends. Yeah. And she cares about him so much that she doesn't want him hurt in that. So she breaks it off with him.
And conveniently, she breaks it off with him on the day they said they were going to break off their fake relationship because of circumstances.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 etc. So, I mean, it all kind of lines up in the end. And then...
and he has the interview. And he makes the choice because she may be switching schools. And then he makes the choice to go to the same school, like to get an interview at the same school that she's going to be at because he loves her.
And I have to say that Holden Rodriguez, which is his like official best friend,
i.e. Poe Dameron,
he's known Adam since he was like 6 or 7. Like what he cites that he's been to like at least 4 Power Rangers themed birthdays of Holden's over the years. One of which when he was 17, which is charming.
Wait, he had a Power Rangers birthday at 17?
Don't
100%.
judge him.
I'm not. I remember when Power Rangers came out.
Yeah, we ever made fun of you. So his best friend Holden Rodriguez like drops all the hints every step along the way of like he's in love with this chick. Like he's got it hard for her. He knows what's up, and so
he knows
what's up,
dude.
And not to mention that Holden was actually one of Olive's professors in first year.
Damn.
And he's Malcolm's squeeze by the end of it.
At the end of it, he ends up as
Holden and Malcolm.
Yeah, her roommate. Her roommate has always had it hard for for Professor Rodriguez.
So
has
have
always had it hard for him.
And I don't even know this professor.
And so they end up together. That's, of course they do because spoilers. But Holden offers Olive a lot of insight about Adam in a very kind of non-direct way.
Tom is, oh God, how do we get into Tom? Tom is a professor who is a friend of Adam's, and he starts to show interest in Olive's work, but it turns out he's a douche bonnet.
Yeah, spoilers. Tom's a piece of fucking shit, and he basically he gets himself caught more or less because Olive is recording her talk and records everything that Tom says unintentionally.
Unintentionally,
yeah.
How?
She was recording her talk for her advisor.
Professor.
Yeah, her advisor. And so she ended up catching this conversation she had with Tom on tape. On tape. I'm old. Ends up
cassette tape.
She catches this on her phone, recording it, and ends up, using it to basically get Tom fired, etc. And there's this huge scene at the end where she walks into this meeting where Adam is meeting with the
when she storms into the restaurant.
She storms into the restaurant where Adam is having this meeting.
Casually saunters into the restaurant and asks to talk to Adam.
Who's in the meeting with
Are they having appetizers?
I mean, he had her as an appetizer a while ago.
So she storms into this restaurant and, with the intent to tell Adam about this going on. And then Tom interjects because he's a fucking asshole. And then she ends up playing this recording in front of this entire panel of people from Harvard.
And then Adam punches him.
No, Adam wants to punch him real bad to the point of he threatens to kill him. Kills Tom. Because obviously he's upset and, and to her merit, Olive doesn't want to break up the relationship that Adam has with Tom because they're friends.
Well, that's why she avoided telling him in the first.
Which she lied about it in the first place. Yeah. And then... Of course, he has the moment of like, oh my God, this is the thing you were upset about. And you're like, I love you, Adam Carlsen. Please marry me forever. You're the most beautiful man on planet Earth.
But I still hate you, Tom.
Oh, yeah, but Tom's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Okay. So he has zero redeeming qualities.
Correct.
Tom.
Actually, it ends up the opposite. Or I would say it starts the opposite, where it's like he seems like a very great character and he's lovely and whatever, and he's going to like help Olive out. And in fairness, like he connects with Olive not knowing that she is in a relationship with one of his good friends. So even right off the bat, you kind of get an inkling that he's very much on Olive's side and does want to like promote her work and help her better her studies. And then down the road, you find out obviously he's a fucking big piece of shit, and he's treated Adam like a piece of shit over the years too. So really, there's no redeeming factors here.
Which you find out through Holden.
Yeah, Holden has a wonderful insight.
Yeah,
and he does it in such a way that he doesn't like straight up tell Olive what to do or what to say, because as a good scientist, you don't want to tell people the answer. Potentially, you wanted them to come to the conclusion themselves. And
right, so you just want to kind of guide.
You want to guide them to find their own answers, and that's like that's one of the things I love about Ali's writing in general, is that like she doesn't straight up just like, here is the answer to the question. There's a lot of kind of nuance going on here about the characters as well.
And rubbing lotion on the skin.
Excuse me?
It's SPF 70. It's a lot.
Ooh, I need that.
Same.
I've never had higher than 60.
I went to the States and had 100 one time.
What?
That was rad. Yeah, SPF 100. It exists in Texas.
Or when he moves the car.
When he pushes the truck. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that one.
There's a lot of really good scenes in this book.
Yeah, there is.
They're wonderful.
And it's delightfully written in that it's not taking too seriously. It gives you little bits into the, like, little bits of character insight and like their relationship too. Like, you can see as she's starting to fall for this dude.
Oh yeah, you can.
And
then she realizes it and she's like, God damn it. Like, she's almost mad at herself that this happened. And I think a big part of why I really resonated with this book in general is that like, there's like, when you get down to the like soulmate kind of thing where it's like these two people fell in love with each other's personality. And Adam is this like big, tall, honking, like 12-pack, muscular
Adam Driver,
beautiful man. And Ollie is like this kind of meek, freckled, brown hair, 5'8",
spunky
scientist. Yeah,
That's
she's
pretty
like
tall.
she's like my height, thereabouts.
Yep.
And you know, she's like a nerd, 100% scientist, dedicated to what she's doing, has no real like wandering eye per se, has no interest in like pursuing people.
Her intent is not to go out and get laid. Like, she's not like,
No, she is 100% like dedicated
Committed.
to.
Yeah.
She's committed to like dealing with pancreatic cancer in general, and like it's so. She's such an admirable character. In her dedication in general, and so like these two people are so fucking genuine in their feelings for each other, and it's just like so heartwarming.
idiots to lovers.
It's idiots to lovers, definitely.
It's idiots to lovers. It's
Yeah.
And it's just delightful. And I love that it's funny, you keep talking about like the soulmate idea. I'm actually reading a Raylo fanfic right now, which is like 100% soulmate trope. Where they find out that they're soulmates, and Ben Solo is the president of the Galactic Union, and it's like,
Of course he is.
yeah, let's see where this goes. I'm loving it.
The Galactic Union.
So talk about loving things. I'm gonna get Jack to read us an excerpt. Oh, this is wholesome as fuck. I'm gonna get Jack to read potentially one of my favorite pages in this entire book. I'm gonna say,
we were done. Damn it.
Diesel.
Bonnie.
So it's it's in the middle of kind of some spicy action that's going on here. This is when they are in the same hotel room. She like had a shit fit about what happened with Tom earlier, but she can't really tell him, but she's upset, and they went out for sushi and beers and then came back to the hotel room. We're gonna watch a movie, make sure the movie doesn't have any dead horses in it, etc. There's a whole
horses?
It was dead horses. Yeah, it was a whole thing. And so
she doesn't like dead horses?
No, she doesn't like movies with dead horses. So she's like, I'll watch anything. Just make sure there's no dead horses
so
in
the
it.
Ring, not good.
I don't think that they explicitly discuss the Ring in this book, but I
They
could
do
be
not.
wrong.
They
No.
should.
They should, maybe.
That's the only movie I can think of.
Black Beauty?
The Never-Ending Story.
God.
No.
So,
I'm gonna do a shot before I have to read this.
oh goodness. Okay. So
Because that's what Jacqueline needs, is a shot before she reads
you know
it.
what I will say though? Like, I don't know if this book is shot worthy per se, because it's not like cringy. The cringe in this book is, and as a person who can't deal with cringe, this book is cringy in a very wholesome sort of way.
It's not even cringy. I don't think, like, there's...
Like the secondhand embarrassment, I'll say.
It's like, yeah.
20% alcohol, cringy. Maybe.
It's like, this isn't a book that's set out to be spicy. This is a book that had great character great character and plot, and
Was accidentally spicy?
well, I don't think it was accidentally. I don't think there's any accidental whoop slipped and the spice got in there.
And I think I mentioned this earlier, but like the spice that is in this book is like, it's very good.
Is this your om nom 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 thing?
Nom, nom,
Is
nom.
that like when a hamster's eating some watermelon?
Oh my fuck.
I'm a little hamster eating a little watermelon.
That's how I feel when I read smut. I'm a little hamster eating watermelon.
I'm a little hamster eating a little watermelon. It's tasty. Nom, 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 nom. So Jack, we're gonna get you to read this here. It's gonna start at she was still wearing her stupid knee socks.
Of course she was. She was still wearing her stupid knee socks, and God, Adam was probably thinking that she was the lamest lay he'd ever. Can I fuck you?
Best line ever.
He said it. And then he kissed her, unconcerned with where his mouth had been just seconds earlier. She wondered if he should be put off by that, but she was still twitching with pleasure, contracting with aftershocks at the memory of what he'd just done. She couldn't make herself care, and it was nice to kiss him like this. So nice. Her palms came up to cup his face, and she began to trace his cheekbones with her thumbs. They were red and hot. What? Can I fuck you? He sucked the base of her throat. Please. He breathed it against the shell of her ear, and it wasn't as though she could say no, or wanted to. She'd nodded her permission and reached for his cock, but he beat her to it and pulled down his pants, closing his fist around it. He was big, larger than she'd thought he'd be, than she'd thought anyone could be. She could still feel his heart pounding rapidly against her chest as he aligned himself to her and nudged the head against her opening, and Olive was lax now and pliant and still not loose enough. It didn't quite hurt, but it was nearly too much. Definitely not easy, and yet that sensation, the push of him against every part of her, it held a promise. You're so big. He groaned into her neck. His entire body was vibrating with tension. You can take it. I can, she told him, voice reedy, and her breath caught halfway through the second word. Women give birth, after all. Except that he was not really, not even half. And there was just no more room.
I really have, like, women give birth after all is definitely not the line I want to hear or think while getting railed by a giant penis.
Well, okay, so you need to understand here that Olive is a very
Tiny.
practical person.
Oh, yeah.
She is looking at things in a very practical sort of way, up to and including in sex, which is a very fascinating way to look at it. No, seriously, like, she's so practical, and she's so, like, out of the, like, she's not a very sexual creature.
Fair. When you said insects, I heard insects.
Oh, God.
I was like, that's not the same thing.
Not that kind of biology, Ashton.
No, I get it, and I think that's kind of the draw to the spice in this book is that it's kind of
so genuine.
Well, it's just like whimsical. It's like sweet and like it's.
Rachel just took the book away from me as I was reading.
You were still reading. Stop.
Ahead.
This isn't a book about reading.
Do you need to borrow the book?
No, I'm fine.
I highly recommend reading this book.
I will 100% let you do this book because I really do honestly think, like, again, this is a book with spice in it. It's a very wholesome, lovely book.
It's just a good, lighthearted read. Like, it's so refreshing to read after you read something that's, like, deep and heavy and Den of Vipers.
God. And not to mention, like, if you really enjoy a good rom-com, like, this is 100% a good rom-com.
Yes, and that's the thing, too. Like, if you're going into this book thinking, like, this is Tolkien, Tolkien is not. It is...
Would they make a movie about this book?
Hands fucking down.
Oh, I
Would
believe
Matthew McConaughey be the guy?
This is the kind of book that 90s rom-coms are fucking made of.
Yeah.
And that's what's so, like, genuinely sweet about this is, like, this is the book that we would have watched turned to movie when we were in high school. Junior high, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember how old we are.
But this, and I want to go back to this, that, like, this book made me feel okay in my own skin.
Yes.
Like, it's such a, like, there's nothing fantastical about Olive as a person, but she's, like, lovely.
She's relatable.
She's relatable. She's lovely. She's endearing. Like, as a female character, such an amazing, like, well-written character, well-rounded.
Well, and
just
it's nice
everything.
that she's super intelligent, but she's super wholesome, and it doesn't make you feel dumb to read it, even though there's
gosh,
a lot
no.
of like
I went to,
STEM
I said,
talk.
I went to art school. I don't know fuck all about science, but this was very easy to follow and very, like, I got all the jokes, every single one of them.
Yeah, it's
100%.
delightful.
Yep.
It's just
So one of my favorite quotes in this entire book is by her PhD advisor,
oh yeah.
who's wonderful. Again, another woman
I know
step.
exactly where
You
you're
know
going
exactly where
with
I'm going with this. Her quote is, "Go forth with the confidence of a mediocre white man, and you'll be fine."
Oh shit!
So, like, shots fired. I love that.
That's rough, but
is
I
rough.
love it.
So we're gonna get to rating this book, I think, and
all of the ratings.
I want to rate it out of multi-channel pipettes.
Why not pumpkin spice lattes?
Oh, we could rate it out of pumpkin spice lattes.
Did you say multi-channel pipette?
Yes. It's a joke in the book. Okay, so let's rate this out of pumpkin spice lattes. Out of 9 pumpkin spice lattes.
10.
Okay, I'm giving it 9 pumpkin spice lattes with extra cinnamon on top.
10. Whipped cream,
Extra whip,
cinnamon, all of it.
extra
10.
shot, yeah, all of
Listen,
it.
Allie's rating is the kind of writing that I will read. I'd read her fucking grocery list. Like, that's just how I feel.
I will say that too. I feel like if I ever came across a book that Ali Hazelwood wrote, I would just read it.
Yeah.
And I can say, like, anything she writes, very much like Katie Robert. Anything that woman writes, I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so refreshing to read, and it's lovely. It flows nice. The grammar's wonderful. The banter is top notch. All of it's great, and I relate to a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I just, like, this was written for me. It's lovely.
Well, it's just nice to see smart women in a way that's not, I don't want to say fetishized, but, like, she's smart, and that's cool, and she's fun, and
I think, you know what I think too? I'm going to throw this out there. I think a lot of men should read this book.
yeah.
For a number of reasons, but, like, also it's
Consent is sexy.
consent is so fucking hot.
Consent is hot.
And aggressive consent's my favorite.
Explain.
Aggressive consent?
Yes, please.
Hey baby, do you want me to fuck you right now?
What's
The answer is yes.
the answer is yes, obviously. But which part is aggressive? Just the fucking part?
It's
or?
the hey bitch, do you want me to fuck you right now?
Okay.
Aggressive consent, like.
And you're supposed to say yes, daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
Which might be why Rachel likes it so much.
Please fuck me right now, Daddy.
Uncle Jake.
Uncle Jake.
Line. Habitual line crosser Ashton is
I
here.
need
You get to say panties last week a million fucking times. I get to say Uncle Jake.
I didn't even bring up panties.
panties,
Also,
panties.
I would like to. There's okay. There's
need it.
speaking about panties. I need to bring something up. So Adam Carlsen is a notorious grumpy sunshine in this book.
What does that mean?
A grumpy sunshine is someone who's like, you know, an angry.
He's the
asshole.
grumpy.
He's the grumpy,
And she's the sunshine.
and she's the sunshine of
That's
like
the trope.
Yeah,
It's a trope.
grumpy sunshine. Yeah, so it means that like he's a grumpy asshole. She's the light of his life, and they get together.
It's like, you know, cranky meets fun and happy, and they come together, and they're like, oh, look, you
It
make
works.
a whole normal person.
You make one normal person. Congratulations. And
So is that like everything? I feel like that's always the case.
I mean, it's definitely it's definitely a thing of like opposites attract, right? Like it's that like, you know, size king, tall, short, grumpy sunshine, dom sub. Like there's that.
It's a balance.
A dynamic.
It's a dynamic. Yeah.
It's a dynamic. How many pumpkin spice lattes? You said 9, 8, 9.
I said-
Jacqueline.
How many was it out of again?
Is that of 9?
Did
I said 9 with extra
Cinnamon?
cinnamon because I really like cinnamon.
I would rate it 9 on top of Adam Driver.
Yeah, you want like 9 extra whip?
Cover him in it.
Cover him in it. Okay, Jack.
Cover Adam Driver.
Jack, based on your but what we talked about and our enthusiasm in the half chapter you read, what do you think?
Now, I've never had a pumpkin spice latte.
Really? How do you feel about pumpkin spice in general?
Well, I'm kind of confused
Okay.
because is it like the spices that
Go in pumpkin pie.
encapsulates whatever that word is, a pumpkin pie?
Okay, so it's
Or does it is it flavored like pumpkin
No.
plus those spices?
No. There's no pumpkin in it. It's just the spices that go into pumpkin.
So it's like cinnamon and nutmeg.
It's cinnamon, nutmeg, and
those like
basically
warm fall flavors.
Yeah, 100%. That's all it is.
And whipped cream.
And whipped cream. Yeah. And I'm like a cinnamon fiend, so this is my jam.
I'm like a chocolate girl.
Yeah.
I struggle to order anything besides chocolate. Although I do like things other than chocolate. So what is out of 9?
Out of 9 pumpkin spice lattes.
I feel like it's like...
I think you're getting way too caught up on what a pumpkin spice latte
it's like
tastes like.
5 pumpkin spice latte, a cold one. Is that a thing?
Yeah, you can give frappuccino or
a
iced coffee.
frappuccino cold pumpkin spice latte, plus like maybe a double chocolate brownie. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
we're
okay?
talking like 8.5 easy, because a double chocolate brownie is like intense.
I love
Essentially, Jacqueline really likes it. We're going to make Jacqueline read it.
I
Yeah,
might
I
read it.
I
Like
think I
I
might
think
actually
I
make-
could read it.
I would say this is like the least kind of spicy novel that we've we talked about so far.
I mean, nobody fucked anyone with a knife, so I like that. And no one's like,
Arguably very tame.
no one's in the bathroom with someone else. Bonnie, I'm looking at you, girl. So I like that.
This is a very, I would say this is a very wholesome romantic book.
This is like The Mouse. If The Mouse wrote romance movies,
The Mouse.
Disney.
Not sponsor.
Anyway, also I feel like I enjoyed the whole dicks for days thing. But if I'm kind of just like going more wholesome, like one dick for one day.
You could read this at the
appropriate.
park and not feel like you're being a pervert while children play amongst the play equipment, right? Like you could read it in the car. You could read it anywhere and not feel like,
I could be babysitting a child at the park and not feel like I'm a horrible.
you could be
nanny.
anywhere. Like you're just
It's a very wholesome romance novel.
It's not the kind of book that you look over your shoulder being like, oh shit, who's gonna know I'm reading this?
I don't need to be in the closet with my vibrator reading this book. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you don't have to be, but you could definitely choose.
We're not
to
here.
be.
We're not here to judge. You do what you gotta do.
Because
No
it like
judgment.
Also in the closet, like.
I don't know. My closet's large.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
I mean, the spice is good. Like we're talking about how wholesome it is. Let's be
But
real.
it's like you said, it's like a good book as well, and I feel like I get that from what I've read ish and what you've talked about.
It's not a book that like relies on its spice in order to get people to be interested in it, but the spice definitely leads into why the book is fantastic. It's just one extra little like cinnamon on the pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, it's the icing on top of the cinnamon roll.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
And
Like you don't need it, but damn, it's fucking good.
Well, and I think it really drives the point home. The not the relationship. Sorry, Olive's like sexuality and the fact that she advocates for herself and she's like, no, just because I haven't had sex in a while it's not because I don't want to have sex. It's because I don't want to have sex.
Oh, now
it's a choice.
We didn't touch on this. It's one of the it happens briefly after Jack stops reading. There's a section where he kind of like has a bit of a pause and he's like, you're basically a virgin, and she's like, wait a second. No. Like that is a dichotomy. You're like talking semantics here, et cetera, et cetera. She goes into a bunch of nerdy shit that I don't really understand, but it's entertaining. And in the bonus chapter, he finds it entertaining as well. Spoilers. But basically she's like, this is virginity's bullshit. Like fuck off.
Oh, virginity is a social construct.
It's a social construct.
Yeah,
and she goes on about that. And like to that point, he's like, I can't even argue that, of course. Like, but he's just, and in fairness, he's trying to dig for reasons to not fuck her because he doesn't want her to regret anything.
Because he's a decent human being.
He's an aggressively decent person. I hate it.
You know who wouldn't do that? Bo.
Probably not.
Anyone from Den of Vipers would never.
Diesel not giving her space.
And so this is
Garrett, nah, he'd fucking tattoo her while he did it anyway.
So this is why this book is so wholesome and so lovely and just like I feel like the female gaze is strong in this one. Like holy shit.
Like there was nothing but female
He wears
gaze.
Henleys. Like that's his whole shtick is wearing Henleys in this book, which I'm like, that is the female gaze incarnate.
Like
so,
the shirt?
The shirt, yeah. Have you not seen okay, there's a TikTok Discord right now about about cardigans and Henleys on men and how that's the sluttiest thing men can wear.
I
is
bet
Henleys
you
or
it's
cardigans.
by fucking Zoomers.
No, actually, it was about Jensen Ackles. So I would say that's millennials because Jensen Ackles gonna.
Jensen Ackles is a millennial.
Well, and I
He
mean,
is.
not to be
He's
that
fucking
person.
hot as shit.
He's
But-
hot as shit. And so there's a hard cut of him wearing a fucking cardigan, being like a thirst trap because he is, but he's fully clothed.
Well,
because
also,
it's all you need.
if you look at like Adam Driver when he, I know you roll your eyes, but he's he's based off of, I don't know how intensely, but I mean, because obviously I'm not Ali, but a lot of his like get up outfits when he's just out being himself is like button downs and he wears Henleys.
Yep.
And it's like, sir, that should not be hot, and it fucking is.
And this is why I'm like, I want some men to read this book because the female gaze is really strong in this book.
Yeah.
And like what she finds attractive and what she's so drawn to is like female gaze incarnate. And not to mention the way he's written is like
the way emotion's written.
the way
in this
emotion
book.
is written in this
It
book is
engages you
100%,
emotionally.
100%.
Boys, wear some fucking button downs. Come on.
Buy a cardigan
You know
and
what?
wear it.
It can be short sleeve.
I don't think cardigans are generally
into
short
it.
sleeve.
You can have a short sleeve Henley.
Yeah.
Or just
also
a fucking button down
also,
short sleeve.
Google Henley in case you don't know what that is.
Henley's
It's just like a
cardigan's
long sleeve shirt with like
fine.
it's got a round neck and 3 buttons, and that's a Henley.
Fitted
and-
anything is fine.
So on that note, thanks for joining me, gals, on the Queens of Spice.
Sorry, Barbie.
This episode was called "Did You Kiss Me?" Nope. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. If you want to send us an email, it's queensofspice@gmail.com. Also, don't forget about the DNF challenge for Ash. We want your book recs that Ashton wouldn't finish. Not based on like how poorly they're written or whatever, but just based on content alone. Let us know the trigger warnings. You want to leave some comments there. We're going to like pick the most recommended one really for her to like kind of read. Cause, you know,
Jack and Rachel are going to pick them. Ashton's just going to go in blind.
So if you have a book that you think Ashton might not be able to finish, send it to us, and we'll pick the one that comes up most often, and we'll
Or
give
the most ridiculous.
or the most ridiculous. Like we got some on the pipe that are frigging wild. Shark Daddy's coming up. Uncle Jake's on the horizon.
Oh, Shark Daddy.
Jay, Shark Daddy.
Oh, buddy, I'll tell you about that later. All right, well, thank
Gargle
you for
Daddy.
thank you for joining us on Queens of Spice podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. Or if you want to send us an email, you can reach us at queensofspice@gmail.com.